Space, the final frontier. A vast void speckled with planets, stars, satellites, and, well, junk. You see, space is messy. Really messy. But why should we care? What is space junk? And why clear space? Space Illustrated with Claude Nicollier and Muriel Richard-Noca.
I'm Claude Nicollier. I was an astrophysicist and also a pilot in the Swiss Air Force. And I was selected in 1978 in the first group of European Space Agency astronauts. Satellites are spacecrafts, basically, that are either on orbit around the Earth or on orbit around the Sun or any other celestial body in the solar system or elsewhere.
Satellites are used for all kinds of things. They help us call our loved ones, binge our favorite TV shows, and without them, we probably get lost a lot more because our navigation apps wouldn't work. They're essential to our daily lives. The first satellite was launched in 1957 by the USSR as part of their great space race against the USA. Little Sputnik was the first, but certainly wasn't the last. Today, there are almost 8,000, and almost half of them don't even work anymore. But that's not all that's floating around up there. There are spaceship parts, defunct rocket stages, and some of them are so big. With so much floating around up there, could we be in danger?
There's a lot of space junk. We think that there is of the order of 30,000 objects of a size of 10 centimeters or more on low Earth orbit. When I say low Earth orbit, it's up to an altitude of about 2,000 kilometers above the Earth's surface. Space junk is dangerous for satellites and for instruments and telescopes. They are also dangerous for humans. If you have a collision of one of these human-occupied spacecraft with a space debris, it is obviously dangerous for human life.
Back in 2016, a crack was discovered in one of the windows of the International Space Station. These windows are heavily reinforced to protect the astronauts inside. The culprit of the damage? A tiny fleck of paint moving at 25,000 kilometers an hour. When things are moving that quickly, even the smallest of debris can cause a lot of damage.
It is planned to have, at the end of the 20s, several tens of thousands of satellites on low Earth orbit, part of these constellations. These constellations have as an objective to provide a high-speed internet in many regions of the Earth. It means a lot of objects in low Earth orbit, and the risk of collision is significant. The Kessler effect is a cascading effect where finally there are so many collisions, there's so many debris produced, the space will be filled with debris. We have not come to this point yet, but it's not totally improbable that we would come to this point at some time in the future. It is important to reduce the number of debris and manage space traffic in order to make space accessible in the future.
My name is Muriel Richard-Noca. I'm the chief engineer of ClearSpace, and I'm also one of the co-founders. So ClearSpace aims at providing a service to keep the environment, the space environment, clean. With that service, basically what it is the tow truck that you find on the freeway. When your car is broken on the freeway, today you have the opportunity to call the tow truck. This does not exist yet in space. And so it's bringing a space robot, which purpose is to act as the tow truck. A debris in space can be something that is really small, like a CubeSat, but can be something that is really big as a school bus. And once it's up there, it's typically not stable. So it will have a spinning, a tumbling. And that's the whole challenge, the technology challenge around this is how do you capture an object that is tumbling? So there are basically three things that we're gonna have to do is to determine the rotation of the object, then match that rotation with us, and then go ahead for the capture.
The idea is to bring it to a low enough orbit that after a few days or maybe a few weeks, it will automatically deorbit because of the friction of the high atmosphere.
Right. So not as easy as you might have thought. We really need to get to work clearing space if we don't want space junk to get out of hand. After all, we need space to remain accessible. Not just for satellites, though. How else will we get out there and ensure our future missions? And why are these missions so important for our future and the next generations? All this and more next time on Space Illustrated.